for all the boys and girls that we all ran around with. Our theme song was Flamin' Mamie.
What do you mean by theme song?
Every time we got together and went to go dance at my house or somebody else's house, we would all get in a huddle and put arms around each other and we'd sing Flamin' Mamie. I don't know why. Did you find it?
I think so.
Now see, this is what boggles my mind. After all, I was singing that when I was 16 and 17 years old in high school, which was back in about 1932, 31, 33. I graduated in 33.
I like to talk to my grandma about technological advances because in her day there was no internet, there was no digital cameras, and it's fun to show her what we can do because she really gets a kick out of it.
They called her Flamin' Mamie. She's the hottest baby in town. She's a hot scorcher, love torture. The gal that burns them down, of all the dapper turning mamas, not one compared. For she stands endurance, carries fiery insurance on everything she wears. Now, when she comes to loving, she's a human oven, and she's hard to understand. Oh, her papa's name was Burns, and he worked in the mines, and she ate a box of matches at the age of 9. Oh, Flamin' Mamie's a surefire vamp, hottest baby in town. Boy, I got a poor voice when it comes to singing.
She, constantly remembers great things that happened to her as a child, and she would, as an adult, and would relate those to us in conversation.
It's not even just how much, it's the things that she's done. Like I said, she's 97 and she is she's a college graduate. She owned her own business. Like, those are things that are very, very odd for a woman for a female from that generation to have done those things. And I think she had a and it was, she was a school teacher, which was your kind of generic woman goes to college at that age and becomes a school teacher, but then she did so much more with it that I think it's not even any one individual thing. It's the culmination of all of the out of the norm things that she's done. It's kind of one of those, you can't ever feel like there's something that can't be done because, she's done so many incredibly strange things for someone from her generation of her age.
This is my family tree, my father's side, and this is where I have Linda because this is her book. But then it shows that this is Vernon and I are her parents, and then it shows that Edwin Wyatt and my mother were her grandparents, and it goes clear on down to James Wyatt, who lived in England, and he married Grace Stone, and here's a picture in 1825, and this is a picture of my great-great-grandfather, and this is his grandmother. This was taken in Galveston.
The photo albums she made are really telling. They show a lot about our family's history. People I didn't even know were she made like a family tree, and it was really interesting to see who I'm related to, and also I found like my great-great-grandfather, I look similar to him, and other people, we all have a resemblance to each other, and it's really interesting to see that even so many years ago.
It's interesting to look at the faces of your relatives going back 4 or 5 generations and to realize you're fortunate enough to have come from those people that work so hard and very often struggle, particularly on my dad's side of the family. When they came over from Norway, the first generation is always the generation that has it toughest, and he didn't speak English, and he worked in a marble factory, and he struggled for years and died a young man. So they made sacrifices so we could have a better life, and it helps put your life in perspective to see all that.
I have a huge interest in history, and I don't know if it comes from having heard so much about it, because she's also, not just her past, but she's also very big into our family's genealogy, so I know things about our family, going back hundreds and hundreds of years. I've been to England a couple of times, and I've been to Westminster Abbey twice, and it's always interesting to be walking around in there, and some tour guide asks you if you need help, and I'm like, well, I'm looking for my uncle who's, buried in the wall over there with poets and kings and, all these other people. And so it's a lot of things that most people probably just don't know about their family. It's nothing special about my family. I just happen to know those things about my family. And so I don't know if I have an interest in history because of all of that or the other way around, but I know for sure that that's been a big part of what interests me is where our families have come from and what we've done. And I've gotten a lot of that, especially on this side of the family, directly from her.
I'm very grateful for the fact that she spent a huge amount of time collecting all this information about her life, my father's life. The books are identical, except that if she thought that there were pictures that were originals for me, I got the originals, but then exact copies of those got put in my brother and sister's book. And the same thing, if there was a unique picture, let's say, of my brother, then he got the original, and my sister and I got a copy. So the books, in a way, are identical, but they're not because some contain certain originals and others don't.
I frequently want to go and grab that book and look at it. There's just all sorts of neat things. Even when I was a lot younger, I'd always go down. We have a drawer full of wood puzzles my grandfather carved, and we have several World War II ration boxes. I'd always like to look at those.
People didn't really make home videos back then, but they have a few videos showing how normal life was, but still only very small snippets of it.
I think it's so important for us to understand where we came from. Our ancestors are in our DNA. It's also the legacies that they give us.
She's got a very large family, and that's her legacy, and she's really wants to preserve that.